distance, and in that first moment, something feels wrong. This is not a boat. It was never meant to move. Its walls are thick, heavy, layers of timber sealed with pitch, every seam closed, as if it was built to resist something unstoppable. We pressed the pitch in by hand, slowly, deep into every gap, because we knew water finds weakness. There was a narrow opening beneath the roof, barely visible, but that was where the ark breathed and where we stayed alive. Inside, it was a different world. 3 levels of wood and shadow, rows of enclosures fading into darkness. Life sealed inside a box. The door was in the side, not meant for return, and when it closed, we understood this was final. I stepped inside last. Light behind me disappeared. Ahead, only heat and breathing. The smell comes first, heavy, thick, thousands of bodies in one space, and there is no escape. We carried water back and forth again through narrow paths of restless animals. There was no end to it. The wood began to groan constantly. The ark moved with every wave, and every sound felt like a warning. There were only 8 of us, among thousands of living creatures, and we knew if we stopped, everything would collapse. We fed them every day, dry grain, stored food, our hands burned with effort, but stopping was not an option. The corridors felt endless, layer after layer of life and noise, and slowly you forget what the world looks like. We collected rainwater. Every drop mattered, because even surrounded by water, clean water was rare. We cleaned constantly, again and again, because if we fell behind, the air would turn against us. I checked every seam, every joint, because even one failure would end us. We counted the food, every sack, every measure, because no one told us how long this would last. Sometimes they grew quiet. For a moment, everything slowed, and in that silence, we could breathe. Water moved inside the ark. We guided it as best we could, because if it stayed, it would destroy us from within. Warm air rose upward and escaped through that narrow opening, invisible, silent, but it kept us alive. Sometimes they lost control, massive bodies slamming into wood, and we held them back with our hands because fear made them stronger than us. The predators did not sleep. They paced. They sensed what was near but could never reach it. I stood above them, looking down at endless rows, and in that moment, I understood the weight we carried. We repaired everything immediately, sacks, ropes, timber, because here nothing was small, everything mattered. A beam cracked. We drove wedges into the wood, standing beside forces we could not control. And still, we did not stop. At night, the sounds changed, deeper, heavier. The ark never slept, and neither did we. I knelt in the dark, not in silence, but in noise, and asked for one thing, just one more day. Sometimes light shifted, a thin line of day above us, dust floating in the air, proof that time still moved. Outside, only water, no land, no horizon, nothing to measure distance, nothing to hold on to. I released the raven. It rose and disappeared. It did not return, but that told me nothing. Then the dove. It came back to my hands, empty, exhausted. The world was not ready. I opened the covering. Light flooded in. After darkness, it felt almost painful. The ark stopped moving. We felt it before we saw it. After so long, stillness felt unreal. I stood at the door. Before us, land, empty, wet, but alive. We released them slowly, one kind at a time. No chaos, no rush, because order meant survival. We stepped onto the ground, and it did not move. After everything, that felt like a miracle. I built an altar, stone by stone, and the smoke rose into an open sky. We looked around. The world was empty, but it was waiting, waiting to begin again. I stood by the water and looked where the world had been. Now, there was only silence. We touched the ground, slowly, carefully, as if it might disappear again. We carried tools outside, the same tools that built the ark. Now, they would build life. My sons carried timber down, heavy, familiar, but this time it would become a home. We planted the first seed, small, fragile, but it held something greater, a future. We lit a fire on open ground, not in darkness, not enclosed, under the sky. The animals moved outward, slowly, carefully. The world received them, and they received it. The birds did not return. They found the sky again, the space we had lost and now regained. We built a shelter, simple but real, because it stood on solid ground. I marked the shape of a home, lines in the earth, and for the first time, I thought beyond survival. The altar stood silent, smoke rising upward, nothing blocking it anymore. I looked into the fire and saw everything, the water, the darkness, the fear, and what remained. Then the sky changed. Light stretched across it. Colors we had not seen in so long. A sign we could not ignore. I raised my hand, not to touch it, but to remember it. Forever, we stood together, eight of us.
Behold the sign.
And for the first time,
The promise
there was
is
no fear.
true.
We marked the land,
We are
stone by
blessed.
stone, creating order where there was none. The women sorted seeds carefully, because this was not just food, it was life ahead. New footprints appeared, smaller ones. The next generation had begun. We worked wood again, but not for survival, now for living. I planted a vine for a season not yet seen, for a future we had not lived. The ark stood behind us, silent, dark, a memory that remained. Inside, it was empty. Where life once filled every space, now there was only stillness. I walked through it one last time, my hand against the timber, and I let it go. At night, we sat by fire and listened to silence. It felt unfamiliar. The waters receded, rivers formed again. The world found its shape. Small plants broke through the soil, fragile but persistent. We dug into the earth and found water again. This time, for life, we ate together under open sky, and that was enough. We walked in silence because nothing needed to be said. We began to remember, to record, so nothing would be lost again. We taught the next ones to see, to listen, to understand what had happened. We walked away from the ark slowly, without looking back too often, but never forgetting. It remained behind us, a witness, a reminder that even the end of the world can become a beginning.